Welcome back. So if you've watched my videos for any length of time, first of all, thank you very much for watching our videos. If you've subscribed, thank you for that. We really appreciate the support. But if you've watched my videos for a while, you've heard me say Wing Chun is a conceptual art. You've heard me say that many times. So today, what I'm going to do is get into that in a little more depth. So my teacher gave me concepts to follow and to learn while I was learning the art, and that helped me understand what the art was about and how it was supposed to be followed. So for those of you who have been studying Wing Chun for a while, if you're comfortable with the angles, you're comfortable with center line and top pressure and all that good stuff, but you've never really gotten a handle on the concepts, or maybe your teacher didn't mention concepts to you. Maybe that's not something your family does. Hopefully this string of videos will help you understand the art a little better. So we're going to do something, we're going to do a series. We're going to do 4 videos in a series. We're going to do 5 concepts per video, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully this will help you understand a little bit. So thank you for watching again, and we'll get right into it with the first 5. Alright, so here we go with the concepts. Number 1, straight line beats a curve. And this is basic physics. The easiest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. If you go into a curve, it takes longer. So in Wing Chun, we want efficient movement. We want economy of motion, which, by the way, will come later in this video. So we're going to use the example of Western boxing's hook. Okay? Y'all remember Brandon? He's going to be assisting me today and with all these videos. Have you stand there. So he's going to go in. He's going to give me a hook. So what I'm going to do, I'm standing, whether you stay natural stance or right foot, left foot forward, it's up to you. But, so from here, as he gives me this circular technique, he's having to charge his shoulder, and he's taking the long way around. So as he does this, this line is open. Both high line and middle line are open. So I'm going to take advantage of this with a linear technique. Now, if you want to do Tanda, obviously the Tan is going to be linear on the 45. If you're going this way, your shot's going to be linear down 90 degrees. If you want to capture jab, okay, if you want to do it that way, you can do it this way. Either way, you're cutting off the shot on a linear angle. Also, another thing I like to do is I like to actually aim for the shoulder joint, or if he was kicking, aim for the hip joint. So if he throws this hook, I'm going to throw my Tanda, but I'm going to hit in the shoulder and kind of kill it where it grows. So, but anyway, circular angles are going to be defeated much more quickly by linear angles, and so, like I said, just basic physics. Alright, concept number 2, controlling half cycle technique with full cycle technique. For those of you who don't train in Wing Chun and who don't understand what that means, let me break this down for you a little bit. Half cycle technique means striking or blocking. Full cycle technique means blocking and striking, sometimes simultaneously and sometimes not simultaneously. Most of the time, if it's not simultaneous, it's going to be immediately one right behind the other. So if we take this from the perspective of half cycle versus full cycle, let's say he gives me a kickboxing stance, and he's going to give me, let's say he gives me jab, okay? Now, many, many different ways to deal with this. I can pak, I can tan, I can bong, I can do whatever I'd like. But let's not focus on which technique we're working on. Let's focus on how we're doing the technique. So I'll do full cycle pak sao, for example. So he gives me the jab, and I come back with full cycle pak sao, or pak da. Okay, that's double hand. Obviously, I can also do single hand. If he jabs, pak da. Now, obviously, that wasn't simultaneous. Why? Let me show you. Full cycle pak sao, both hands are moving at the same time, obviously. Single hand, I have this. The hand is still moving, but there's a slight delay between pushing his arm offline and taking that counterattack shot. So he's throwing half cycle because there's no defense behind what he's throwing. I'm throwing full cycle because I'm giving defense and offense. So let's look at one more. Let's say he gives me jab cross combination. So let's say I do what we call pak pak da. So he gives me jab, I pak. He gives me cross. There's my full cycle. Now, I used a half cycle technique on the beginning, on the front end, with his jab, but then I used a full cycle on the end with that cross. So that full cycle technique is always going to have control over the half cycle technique because you're being more efficient with your movement and you're being quicker with your movement. All right, concept number 3. Center line is yin, on top pressure is yang. So when we're talking about inside and outside lines, your outside line is considered yang energy, your inside line is considered yin energy. One of the main reasons this is because the inside lines of your arms and legs are very sensitive because they're not exposed to outside stimulus like the sun or wind or elements or anything like that. If you're clumsy, you bump into a lot of walls, things like that, you're going to hit the outsides of your arms and obviously the outsides of your legs. So it's very simplistic. So when we're using this, very easy. If we're doing, say, Dan Chi Sao, for example, we're here. He has my inside line, I have his outside line coming over. But if you notice, because he's in a Tan Sao, I've started on the outside line and I've snaked over to the inside line, so I'm getting a little bit of both. So if we're doing cross hands, we're both on the outside line here. I do an underhand line Tan. Now I'm on the inside line of the arm. He's going to feel this a little easier than he feels anything on the outside line if he's a beginner because, again, the outsides of the arms and legs are a little more rough because they're exposed more to the elements than the insides are. So that's how that works. All right, concept number 4, minimum effort with maximum effect. So this is what Wing Chun is hinged on, okay, one of the big ones. The idea here is that I don't want to fight somebody at all. But if I have to fight, I don't want to fight for an extended period of time. I don't want to have to stand in front of somebody for 3 minutes. Any of you who have done kickboxing or MMA or boxing or anything like that, you understand 3 minutes is a lifetime. So I don't want to stand in front of somebody for a long time unless I absolutely have to. So you're also going to notice this concept is going to link to both the half cycle and full cycle technique concept that we just did a few minutes ago, but also it's going to link to the first concept in the next video, which I will make a reference to. It's going to be linked to number 6 as well. So when we're looking at minimum effort with maximum effect, things like full cycle technique, things like structure, focusing on our breathing, the Qigong that we do, things like that are going to all aid in that. And number 5, last one for this video, keep the center line obstructed or keep the center line full. So you notice from your guard, whether you're standing in natural stance or 1 foot forward, your hands are going to be here. Now, again, some families hold their hands a little differently than others. The way we do it in our school, we have one hand in the high line, we have one hand in the middle line. So, but my center line is obstructed, my center line is full. Notice my hands aren't separated too far, they're not side to side, and they're not separated vertically. So I want to make sure my center line is full because that's where all my juicy bits are. Okay, the way God made our bodies, all the important stuff is either on center line or just to the side of center line. So eyes, nose, mouth, throat, organs, reproductive system, all that stuff is on center line. Okay, so if I have, whether he's doing Wing Chun or boxing or whatever he's doing, I want to make sure to keep my center line full. If I turn him this way, let's make sure y'all can see a little bit better on what we're doing. So here, what I want to make sure I'm doing is keeping my center line full. If I move my hands to my left, over my left, in front of my left shoulder on 45, he has access to the center line in my high line. If I split my hands, if I have one really high and one really low, he has access to my middle line. If I move my hands, if I tense up my shoulder and I'm trying to move him externally as opposed to using my waist, when I try to move him this way, I'm fighting, I'm opening up my center line for his opposite hand. So I want to keep my center line as full as I can. This also means multiple dimensions of defense, which is we're going to talk about later as well. So if let's say he gives me single hand trap, he takes my forward hand out of the mix, but I have another option. So he makes me commit my rear hand. I give him full cycle Pak Sao. I take his front hand out, I make him commit his other hand. No matter what we do, there's multiple levels of defense that are coming. Just because both hands are occupied doesn't mean that we're automatically done for. I take this hand out here. But what you'll notice is as soon as I disconnect from one, he doesn't have any feeling anymore, so he uses that to come back up and play defense, or he can throw full cycle. So, I hope you like this video. This is the first 5 concepts of Wing Chun. We're going to do 3 more videos, 5 concepts per video. So, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time with the concepts. Thanks.